The alpha draconian reptilians of the Caucasian was bred from are far more treacherous than their offsprings are. These European elites wear this title because of their reptilian bloodlines. Each member of this reptilian bloodline is required to stick their tongues up into the asses of the alpha draconian reptilians for at least 15 minutes. It is a ritual which they must attend. The white Western world has not a clue about how this creation operates and have been teaching everything ass backwards over at Stanford University. We have Kimberly Jackson, the great-grandniece of the American President Andrew Jackson, is the exact opposite of her great-grand-uncle with her genuine love for melanin-dominated humans. It is Kimberly who took me all over Atlanta as a newbie. Kimberly's father, Richard Jackson, is a billionaire banker, and she grew up with Ted Turner's daughter, Laura, whose house I shot my fashion models at, and where Kimberly sold my good friend Jane Fonda several of her artistic handbags. Kimberly likes to take me to very expensive restaurants and will wine and dine me and will never allow me to pay for anything. This is where her heart is coming from. She is beautiful and brilliant. The great-grandniece to the white racist American President Andrew Jackson, Old Hickory, who caused the infamous Trail of Tears my ancestors on my mother's side suffered from. In addition, he sent them smallpox-infected blankets as a part of his genocide depopulation program the Americans ran against the indigenous people of this planet. From then up until now, with the smallpox, AIDS, and Ebola, they have saturated the African continent with. However, that black melanin kicks this devil's viruses in the ass. Now, let us turn our attention to the Hebrew high priesthood, which allows the demons from the fourth dimensional hellish realm to sodomize them for long periods of time in order to release themselves from the hellish realm of the fourth dimensional world and sojourn here in the three-dimensional earth realm. As a result of these demons helping them to rule planet Earth forever, or as long as they desire to. As you see for yourselves, the Hebrew priesthood and the Pope all dress identically to Yahweh, the fallen angel Templars, in all whiteness as the opponent to Prime Creator's melanated creation. As fallen angels, they cannot fly spaceships. Angel means fleets of spaceships, and archangel means fleets of motherships. These 39 feet tall Nephilim giants are just too big, too damn large for the spacecraft world. They were brought here to planet Earth and they ravaged this planet. The Galactic Federation had to destroy them with asteroids. These giant demons are referred to by the Jews as the sons of God in their Bible and in other Hebrew writings, because they are both the fallen angels of the planet Nibiru, and they bathe themselves in lies, murder, thievery, partaking of sodomy, bestiality, eating of human flesh, and the drinking of human blood. Of course, as shape-shifting reptilians, they have their alliances with the royal families of Europe and the American super-rich. These Zionist Hebrews and their Saxon Draco allies have turned planet Earth into Satan's castle, as was their original motive and plan by the fallen angel Templars on the planet Nibiru 24,000 years ago. The plan is to use the programmed Saturn computers to transform every aspect of life on planet Earth into Satan's pleasurable castle, since they are his offsprings, and it is only fitting that their cousins in India do the same, since they all worship the creators of the devils, which is Moloch. Moloch is on the American $1 bill up in the right-hand corner. Moloch is symbolized by the owl, which dominates the layout of the political buildings in Washington, D.C. The American political arena is satanic, as was their first white president, George Washington. Whiteness is their code of honor, as it is the code of honor of the original fallen angels, who hate Prime Creator because Prime Creator produced this as a black female creation preyed upon sexuality and the spiral curve. The Satanist call is for a white creation predicated upon white male dominance, and the square, which is represented by the cubes on Saturn as the controlling computers, as well as the square logos of the major corporations of Western civilization, or should we say Western devilization. In antiquity, the Galactic Federation showered comets upon the heads of those 39 feet tall titans who were ravaging the planet. Today's scenario will have to be a different approach so that masses of innocent humans are not destroyed in the process. We are moving into the ascension, which means that we will move to Torah at a fifth dimensional level of existence, and those who qualify will move to Torah in waves as humans on higher levels of consciousness. Then the bombardment to cleanse the surface of the planet of these demons can commence, and it shall commence in the process of viewing these DVDs released by the Ancient Alien series on PBS television. I find that I am having to go into the documents and make corrections due to the fact that they are bleaching out the images of the African gods and goddesses in an attempt to make them look white. These Jews also have lots of erroneous information which they are disseminating to the general public during their guessing period, which is not true. They have tricked the ignorant masses into believing it is their created Jesus Christ figure's birthday. Needing the energy to go to Nimrod is their principal desire, which is why they created this lie from the beginning.
But some theories in physics, string theory, predict that there are many, many more dimensions, 10 or 11 dimensions altogether. Only these dimensions are not accessible to us. We don't see them. Now, these dimensions are tiny, subatomic, smaller than particles inside of an atom. And if you could somehow travel along these other dimensions, it would take you somewhere else entirely.
The patriarchs of this society, plantation owners and professionals, made up 10% of the population, but enjoyed 75% of its wealth and held most of the important political offices as well. Meanwhile, Northerners were becoming increasingly appalled by the immorality of slavery. The publication of Uncle Tom's Cabin in 1852 added fuel to the fire. Harriet Beecher Stowe's book about the evils of slavery was the best-selling novel of the 19th century. The book outraged both sides of the slavery issue. Abolitionists were horrified by the cruelties portrayed in the novel, while pro-slavery factions claimed it was pure fiction.
That was one of the turning points. That's where it makes it difficult for the slaveocracy, that slave-owning class that rules the South, to defend itself. There's no such thing as good slavery. Once you read Harriet Beecher Stowe's book, you say, wow, that's why I'm against slavery.
Do you see this, people? A mighty tyrant in the face of Jehovah. Not a horrible tyrant, but instead a mighty and noble mass murderer, born on the 25th of December, which is why you have this Christmas celebration, because this energy goes out to the computers on Saturn for Nimrod. This is how the devil's side thinks. They refer to their mass murderers as Alexander the Great, Constantine the Great, Christopher Columbus, erasing the contemporary surface black race out of the picture and detaching them from their Syrian culture in Egypt is the name of the current game being played. The U.S. government's top secret NASA manual still makes it a governmental crime, a federal crime, to reveal information about melanated superior beings and their vastly superior technology to the American public. The Vatican Church destroyed so many valuable documents which would reveal important information. They only wanted the gold from the indigenous people and calling them savages because they did not worship their European Christianity. Well, it turns out that their European Christianity, along with all of the other religions of this planet, are complete major frauds being worked from the computers which are strategically placed inside of the rings of Saturn by the demons of Nibiru, the Jews, the Romans, and the Anunnaki from Nibiru made up the Jesus Christ story by fusing three of the Christ beings who were here on the planet simultaneously, and trick the people into believing the nonsense they are currently believing so that they could be able to provide that energy instead to the king of hell, which is Moloch, in addition to Nimrod. Moloch on the $1 bill of the American money, and at the Bohemian Grove, where the super rich go to worship every year in the northern state of California. That is, the females are not allowed to these sessions because this entire belief system is reptilian oriented, and the reptilians do not have females in their race. The males have both sexes and they sodomize one another, which is why you have so much homosexuality on this planet. The Hebrews and the reptilians brought this foul and filthy culture here.